savannah, there lived a mighty lion named Leo. His golden mane shone brightly in the sun, and his deep, rumbling roar echoed across the land. Leo was known as the king of the savannah, and for a long time he took great pride in his strength, his roar, and his ability to command respect from all the creatures. His presence alone sent ripples of fear and admiration through the animal kingdom. But deep down, Leo felt a sense of emptiness. He was respected, yes, but something was missing. Despite all his power, Leo felt disconnected from the world around him, as if he was always chasing something he couldn't quite grasp. Every day, Leo would wander the savannah, listening to the sounds of the animals, chirping birds, rustling grass, and the distant hum of the river. But he never truly paid attention to them. His mind was always focused on his own thoughts and desires. He didn't listen to the animals, nor did he understand their needs. He thought he had it all figured out, that being the strongest was all that mattered. But the more he roamed the savannah, the more he began to feel a nagging sense of loneliness that even his mighty roar couldn't fill. One day, while Leo was walking by the river, he spotted a small creature sitting quietly by the water's edge. It was a meerkat, its small, slender body perched on a rock, looking down at the river with a peaceful expression. The meerkat had a calmness about it that intrigued Leo, and for a moment he hesitated. What was it that made this tiny creature so at peace with the world? Leo approached the meerkat slowly, his massive paws sinking into the soft earth. "Hello, little one," he said with a deep voice, his usual commanding tone softened by curiosity. "Why do you sit alone by the water? Surely you must have something to do, something to chase or hunt." The meerkat turned to Leo, her eyes bright with wisdom. "I am simply listening, Leo," she said softly. "The world speaks to those who are willing to listen. But most creatures, especially the mighty ones, are too busy to hear what the world has to say." Leo blinked in surprise. "Listen? To what?" "To everything," the meerkat replied, smiling gently. "The wind in the trees, the rustling of the grass, the songs of the birds. All of them are stories, messages from the earth. You are so powerful, Leo, but you only hear your own thoughts. You must learn to listen if you want to understand the world around you." Leo thought about the meerkat's words as she returned to gazing at the river. He had never really thought about it that way. The world had always seemed so loud to him. His roar, the animals around him, the bustle of the savannah, but he had never taken the time to really listen. Could there really be something he was missing? That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Leo decided to try something different. He sat down at the edge of the savannah, just as the meerkat had done, and closed his eyes. For the first time, Leo tried to quiet his mind and listen to the sounds around him. At first, all he could hear was the wind rustling through the trees and his own breathing. But then, as he focused, he began to notice more subtle sounds: the chirping of crickets, the soft splashing of fish in the nearby river, the distant call of an owl. He even heard the faintest sound of leaves fluttering in the wind, like a whisper. As Leo sat there, a strange feeling washed over him. It wasn't the usual power or pride he felt when he was in control. It was a feeling of connection, of belonging. He began to understand that the savannah wasn't just a place where he ruled. It was a living, breathing world full of life and stories. And it wasn't just the strong and mighty who could experience it. It was the meek, the small, and the quiet ones too. Over the next few days, Leo made it a habit to sit by the river or under the shade of a tree, listening to the sounds around him. He learned to pay attention to the animals he had once overlooked: the birds that flitted among the branches, the insects that buzzed in the grass, the elephants that rumbled through the trees with gentle grace. He began to hear the songs they all sang, not in words, but in the rhythm of their movements, in the sounds of their lives. One day, as Leo was sitting quietly near the riverbank, a small zebra approached him. The zebra, whose coat was marked with striking black and white stripes, seemed hesitant at first, but Leo's calm presence made her feel safe. "Leo," the zebra said, her voice soft, "I've noticed something different about you. You've been so quiet lately, so still. It's as if you're listening to something only you can hear." Leo looked at the zebra, his golden eyes reflecting the peacefulness he had found in the world around him. "I've been learning to listen, to hear the world as it is," he said. "I didn't realize how much I was missing before." The zebra nodded, her eyes thoughtful. "That's a wonderful thing, Leo. So many of us are too busy running through life, always chasing something. But when we stop and listen, we learn things we never knew before." Leo smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. For the first time he felt truly connected to the savannah, to the animals, and to himself. He wasn't just the king anymore, he was a part of something bigger, something more beautiful than he had ever imagined. As time passed, Leo continued his journey of self-discovery. He learned that strength wasn't just about power and dominance, it was about understanding, empathy, and connection. By listening to the world around him, Leo began to see things he had once ignored. He noticed the delicate balance of nature, the way the trees and rivers worked together, the way the animals all played their part in the ecosystem. He understood the importance of each creature, no matter how small, and how they all contributed to the harmony of the savanna. One day, as Leo was walking through the savanna, he came across a herd of buffalo. They were gathered in a tight group, their large bodies shifting nervously as they moved slowly across the plain. Leo could sense their unease and knew something wasn't right. Without a moment's hesitation, Leo approached the herd. He didn't roar or demand attention. Instead, he stood quietly among them, his eyes focused on the buffalo as they moved. After a moment, he realized what was wrong. A young buffalo had become separated from the group, trapped in a small patch of thorny bushes. The other buffalo were too frightened to approach and help the young one, but Leo knew what he had to do. He moved calmly and carefully toward the trapped buffalo, listening to its frightened bleats. With gentle care, Leo used his strong paws to clear the thorns and free the young buffalo. The herd watched in awe, their tension easing as Leo worked quietly, using his newfound understanding of the world and his connection with the animals to help. Once the young buffalo was free, the herd gathered around it, nudging it with affection and relief. The buffalo turned to Leo, their eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Leo," one of them said softly. "You didn't have to help us, but you listened. You saw what we couldn't see." Leo nodded, his heart full. "Sometimes all it takes is listening," he said, his voice calm and steady. As Leo continued his journey of growth and understanding, he became a leader not just because of his strength, but because of his ability to listen, to learn, and to help those around him. He understood that true leadership was about guiding others with compassion, understanding their needs, and making decisions that benefited everyone, not just the strong. And so, Leo, the once mighty lion who had ruled through strength alone, became a wise and compassionate leader, beloved by all the creatures of the savanna. He had learned the most important lesson of all, that listening was the key to understanding, to connection, and to true strength. And with that knowledge, Leo had found not only peace within himself but also the respect and love of all the creatures around him.